I 32M broke up with my girlfriend 29F who did not accept my conditions about my family, but everyone says she's the right one and I am the fucked up one, so I came here for inside thoughts. I 32M did not have a long-term relationship until last year after my mom 58F and my brother 19M involved into a traffic accident 9 years ago, and my brother has disabilities because of it. He has to use a wheelchair and his lower body usage is low, so when he has to walk, he needs to use a walker. He also has really unstable mood changes due to head trauma and PTSD. This has affected my line of specialty in medicine. Before this I was planning to be a urologist, and I am currently a physiatrist who is a fellow in algology. My dad is out of the picture since my brother is a year old. He has his own problems, deep depression, then suicide attempts, which was understood. He has DID due to a sexual abuse from his past. Currently his sister is his conservator, so marriage was annulled when I was 17. He can only come with my aunt. My GF29F knows the situation really well, and she knows that I am not separable from them. Sure, we may live in another house, but as long as I can breathe, I will take care of them. I currently live next door to them, and my GF and I were thinking of getting serious, and the engagement talk have started 2 months ago. While we were talking about it, she said this last week: I love your mom and your brother, but I don't want us to be so linked to them, so I want us to move to another city and have permanent caretakers for them, or the other family members should take care of them. At first, I laughed, but then she looked at me with a stern face. I thought for a minute and said with a calm voice, well, I am not leaving my brother and my mom, so if you have any other thoughts, you can leave and we can end this right now. She was looking like she was shocked, and I again coldly told, please leave. She took her stuff from my house in 10 minutes while she was whining, but I stayed put, and when she was at the door I told, I love you, but I have other commitments that is much more valuable than you. I hope you will understand this. Now all of my friends and co-workers say I am an asshole, and they think I am a robot who is emotionless. Normally I wouldn't give a damn, but everyone anonymously agreed I fucked this, so I came here to take some advice on how should I navigate in future. You were very cold about it, and telling her she wasn't as important as your family kind of seems like you aren't ready for serious relationships. I don't think you're wrong for ending it, but you could have talked it over with her. I know you've explained it before, but you could have reiterated, and if she couldn't take it, part amicably. Your way though was fine, but the way you did it was very rude. Yes, you wanted to take a clear stand for your family, and you can do that, but you single-handedly made all the decisions here. That's not how a good relationship works. And no, I'm not saying you guys should have found a compromise. I'm saying you should have sticked with your initial suggestion. Maybe she was willing to compromise given some time, but you took that opportunity from her and kicked her out. So yes, you're the asshole. Here's what you need to do. Apologize to her. Admit that you were very cold and that you should have communicated with her instead of making all the decisions without her. Don't excuse it with anything. You fucked that up, so take responsibility for your actions. Until you're ready to actually start a life and family with someone else, don't get into another relationship. There's nothing wrong with you having the care of your mother and brother as a non-negotiable priority, but your communication of this to your girlfriend seemed quite abrupt and cold. You were planning on sharing and joining your lives together, then kicked her out after the first hurdle/obstacle in planning a future together rather than discussing it together. Exactly. If you want a partner in life, you need to give them the kind of respect and love you give your family, or they're not a partner. Your reaction to her made it clear to her that she's second class and always will be. Until you're ready to make someone else in your life equally important to your mother and brother, you are not ready for a serious relationship. That doesn't mean abandoning your family, but it does mean you have to have serious conversations instead of kicking them out at the first sign of trouble. My greatest fear is being a burden to my children or family. Have you ever asked your family how they feel about you basing your life on them? I get needing help here or there, but I'll be damned if I am dependent on my kids or brother for the rest of my life. You even changed your career direction and girl you were going to marry because of them. Sorry, but that level of dependence is unhealthy. Imagine if you died and they still haven't learned to be self-reliant. My 28 meters, Fiance 26F told me that my parents are saying incredibly racist things to her when I am not around because they don't want black grandchildren. Hello everyone, I am writing this to figure out what to do or who to believe in this situation. Let me start out by saying that I am white and my lovely fiance is a black woman. We have an amazing relationship and I don't want any other woman in my life. She is also the only black woman I have ever dated. My parents have always been supportive of me and I have an incredibly strong family relationship with them and my siblings, or at least I thought. When I was growing up in the Midwest, there weren't really black people around and the topic of racism never came up really. But I never suspected that my lovely outgoing and polite parents would be racist because they even donated money to an orphanage in Africa for like 20 years now through their church. My parents met my fiance a year ago, but did not take it too seriously because I had a lot of girlfriends in the past and they probably just thought it was another girlfriend. Well, last weekend I announced to them that my girlfriend was now my fiance on a family Zoom meeting. My parents looked a little surprised, because I did not discuss it with them before, but were ultimately congratulating me. We wanted to have a dinner with them in person to sort of let them get to know their future daughter-in-law and everything blew up. My mom forgot something for the dinner and my dad and I went to the store to get it. My fiance texted me about 10 minutes in asking me to come back right away because she needed me and my dad and I turned around. When I got back she was sitting in my car, I still had the keys, and she was crying asking me to take her to our house. Of course I drove her home and told my parents I was sorry and my fiance told me what my mom had said to her. Essentially my fiance told me that my mom said she was not supportive of us because she didn't want black grandchildren. A number of other things that she was surprised my fiance married up, even though I think my fiance is better looking than me, but I am a bit more successful financially. Well, I confronted my mom and asked what she said and my mom said that she said nothing even close to that and that the only thing she said was that she was curious what country my wife was ethnically from and that my fiance mistook it. Well, I asked my fiance more probing questions, but she is adamant that my mom explicitly said these things. I've never known either of them to be liars, but the two people I trust most in this world are giving me completely conflicting stories. I want to side with my wife, but what if she is having some mental episode or something? Is it a possibility that no one is lying here? I need some fucking help, tired face. Edit, it could also be a mental episode with my mom, maybe, but neither have mental issues. But they can pop up in people's 20s like my uncle, so I just said my fiance might have had a mental episode. Sorry for the confusion. People can donate money to an orphanage in Africa and still not want black people in their family. If anything, it screams white savior. I think the reason your mom said this to her when you weren't there is because she wanted plant the seed of doubt into your fiance's head. Your mom was hoping it would cause your fiance to end things with you. But the fact that you cannot see this and imply that your fiance is perhaps having a mental break indicates that perhaps you aren't ready yet. Screams white savior. Especially through the church, skull. The whole situation sounds like a setup to get you out of the way, send you to the shops and corner your fiance. Look at the setup when you returned. Your fiance had fled from an abusive situation. Your mom didn't ring you in alarm saying, honey, the strangest thing just happened. Asked your fiance where her family is from ethnically and she flipped out and ran away. She's out sitting in the car now and I don't know what to do. Think about it, if you were in your mom's shoes, wouldn't you be waiting in the driveway for your husband and son to return in order to find out what's happened? Wouldn't you reach out to ask what's wrong? You had to ring your mom for an explanation and it sounds like she's decided to brazen it out. After all, the damage she wanted to inflict has been done. If you don't believe your GF, she'll finish with you and it's mission accomplished for your mother. You are there questioning your fiance's sanity, again mission accomplished for your mom. If your fiance has somehow constructed an elaborate lie to drive a wedge between you and your parents, it's a very good one. How likely is it? Why would she bother? I'm inclined to think your mother is less open-minded than you understand her to be. Challenge her again in person and don't allow for any carpet sweeping. Any attempts to deflect the blame on your fiance should be noted. She's crazy, she's having an episode, she wants to cause trouble, etc. All red flags. If your mom is telling the truth, it will be transparent defense. For example, my exact words were XYZ, I meant no offense, I'll apologize and make it up to her. I guess ask yourself who stands to gain anything by lying. Does your fiance have anything to gain by making this up? Or does your mother have something to gain by denying it ever happened? Because personally, I'm inclined to believe your fiance. I don't see what she could possibly gain from this, whereas your mom has every reason to say it didn't happen. Are you sure you're ready to marry a black woman? If your honest reaction to hearing about racism she experienced is maybe she had a mental episode, I don't think you're ready. Are you in America? You don't sound like someone who's confronted the racism your wife experiences just being black or how that racism will affect you. This is not something you can disregard or assume won't affect you because you don't. As far as if your mom or fiance is telling the truth, I believe your fiance. If you're in America and your mom asked her what country she's from, that's tiptoeing on the line. Does she have an accent? If there's nothing obvious that says to people, oh she must be from XYZ, then she's from America. What kind of question is that? Your mom was fishing. Just how different are you? Are you at least from an acceptable country? This won't change and won't get better without a confrontation. And honestly, if I was your fiance and I knew you were wondering if I was lying, I'd be reconsidering this whole thing. Thank you. By questioning his wife's sanity when everything she said happened is 100% plausible, he's demonstrating he is not ready to get married. And definitely not ready to have black children, who will experience even crazier things than this over the course of their life. I'm a white guy from the deep south. This isn't even a mystery to me. Your wife is not making up anything. Trust her. The ethnicity dodges old hat and she's blaming your fiancé for her own racism by saying she was misunderstood. Midwesterners I personally know have a really skewed view of what racism is and often are not aware of how racist they are exactly because they do not get to witness it on a regular basis or be embarrassed by it on a regular basis. No offense intended. Donating to a church for African/Haitian/Latin missions is the most racist, colonialist, self-aggrandizing thing ever. By the way, it's a disgusting racist banner wave. My parents' church's missions to Honduras and an indoor basketball court for white kids, but won't do a damn thing for the poor blacks in one of the poorest counties in the USA. Anyway, apologies for coming across strongly, but please reinvest in your fiancé by being empathetic to her, and put down a hard line now that your mother's comments were unacceptable. Best of luck to you. Donating to a church for African/Haitian/Latin missions is the most racist, colonialist, self-aggrandizing thing ever. By the way, thank you for pointing that out. They'll spend money on black people thousands of miles away, to make themselves feel good and powerful, while ignoring the people in their own countries who are suffering. It's so gross. I'm a campaigner for Adopt Don't Shop, and my two best friends have just bought designer lockdown puppies. I can't help but view them differently. Update. Thank you all for the responses. I just want to clarify that I am not completely against buying puppies from family breeders. I appreciate that not everyone can rescue and for some people it's not suitable. I will however always champion Adopt Don't Shop because that's the harder sell and that's why I devote pretty much all my free time to it. There are bigger things at play that people might not realize, such as price inflation, breeding welfare etc. But that's not my main issue here. There is a big issue here in the UK where puppies have been bought during lockdown and then given to rescue centres because buyers didn't think things through properly. This is a big issue for me and one I've been vocal about, especially to my friends. And that's why I'm so horrified that they've done this very thing. I appreciate it's a divisive topic and I was hoping to discuss the moral dilemma of a friend doing something that goes against your principles, as opposed to the wider debate of puppies. To me it's similar to those who have found themselves questioning relationships with someone who has had opposing views about Brexit, Trump, vaccines etc. and how they handled them. Did you move past it? How? Thank you all for your help and advice so far. Smile. Original post. First up, I'm not against puppies. I love all animals, especially dogs. But I'm also a big campaigner for rescue dogs and adopt don't shop. I have rescues, I volunteer at a rescue, and I've spent years campaigning for rescues through my business. I've been particularly vocal about it over the last year due to the rapid increase of puppies being bought over lockdown, UK based, and the knock-on effects of it. I've been very anti-buying right now in this demand peak, and as impulse buys. I've spoken about this to two of my best friends at length, and lots of on social. They've always been engaged and supportive, like every post about rescues and share articles I write. Now I've just found out they've both bought designer puppies, at £2,500 each, and I just can't help but judge them. I know this will make me sound horrible, but I just can't understand how, even though they know about all the rescues needing a home, and the issues with buying puppies during this peak, they still went ahead. Also, they are literally in the very situations that I've been vocal about. Friend 1 rents a high-up flat that doesn't allow animals, is hoping her landlord won't notice. Doesn't drive or have access to a car. Doesn't have any grass areas around the flat, nearest being a minute's walk away. Works full-time and loves going out at night, long holidays, festivals. Currently working from home due to lockdown, but if, as company haven't confirmed but is likely, she has to go back to the office, her commute is 1 hour each way. Friend 2, rents a house in London with friends, moves around a lot, hasn't informed current landlord, is a full-time student with a part-time job, will be out every day 9 to 5, loves going out at night and partying. I know her part-time job just about covers her rent. Even as I write this, I just feel so angry and disappointed that they've just gone ahead. I'm literally at my local rescue center every week taking calls from people who want to dump their puppies because of situations like the above. They've never mentioned a puppy to me before, and I'm convinced it's an impulse buy. I can't bring myself to like their photos of the puppies or even talk about them. But I'm also aware these are my opinions and I can't force them onto others. I'm not looking for the moral arguments around puppy buying, but more whether or not anyone has had similar experiences where a friend has done something that goes against a strong moral belief of yours, and it's changed the way you view them. Because that's where I'm at, my view of them had changed. And I don't know what to do. Any advice would be appreciated.